Everyone wants the best for Bitcoin. They just have different views on what is best for Bitcoin. And yes, maybe some people are doing some things for the lulz, but that is short term. It's not going to last forever.
They said the crash would define 2025, but the story is changing fast. Samson Mow, CEO of Gen 3 and one of the loudest advocates for nation-state Bitcoin adoption, is arguing we're moving into a new phase. Not slow, incremental adoption, but sudden, explosive demand that could reshape markets overnight. Why? First, institutional infrastructure, led by big players like BlackRock, has turned Bitcoin from a fringe trade into an allocatable asset class, and ETF flows this year have been staggering. Those inflows are not just money. They change liquidity dynamics and create persistent demand pressure that can fuel violent upward moves. Mow's Omega candle is his shorthand for that rare, massive green candle, a single, historic price move triggered when halting supply meets a sudden wave of demand. Think daily price jumps measured in tens of thousands, not hundreds. He warns that when hesitant buyers finally rush in, price action will look nothing like the runs we've seen before. At the same time, Gen 3 is actively working with governments and policymakers to make national adoption realistic, which means demand could come not only from ETFs and institutions, but from sovereign balance sheets, a game changer for scarcity economics. So the takeaway, the market structure has shifted. Institutional capital plus policy momentum plus narratives like the Omega candle create the conditions for a once-in-a-lifetime, explosive move. Prepare, but don't panic. This is where conviction, risk management, and timing matter more than ever. Now, before we dive deeper into Samson Mow's powerful insights and what they mean for Bitcoin's future, take a quick moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel for more Bitcoin and crypto updates. Your support helps us reach more people and keep bringing you insights from leaders like Saylor and Samson Mow. All right, let's get to more insights from Samson Mow and unpack his bold vision for Bitcoin's next explosive phase.
All right, Samson, you are obviously fronting up Gen 3. How's everything going? How's the nation-state adoption going?
Pretty good. We just got back from Paraguay and we made some good progress there. We met a lot of the right people that could potentially make a Bitcoin bond happen in Paraguay. And we likely will go back again if discussions progress.
And I assume all of these countries have been looking at what Trump has been saying in the US and him leaning into Bitcoin. Has that made a real impact in your conversations with these other countries?
Well, I think they have a vague idea, but we often seem to think in a wrong fashion that everyone knows everything that we know, and that's not always the case. A lot of people don't even know that the Bitcoin ETFs are BlackRock's most successful ETF, and it's generated some 200 million in profits for them. People don't know that, and the executive orders, they don't know that either. So it's kind of our job to go and tell them these things. So if you look at what we do from a 30,000-foot view, we're kind of like a personalized podcast about Bitcoin, that we go and sit down with them, talk about everything that's happening in Bitcoin, and answer questions. And there's no question that is too noobish to answer.
Back in 2021, when Saylor came out and started doing the strategy stuff, everyone was thinking like institutions were going to start piling in, and we saw one or two, and then really it wasn't until the last 12 months where we've seen real institutional adoption of Bitcoin. Do you think nation states may be similar in the sense that we may just be like a cycle early, and in a few years we'll start seeing a lot of these nation states actually piling into Bitcoin?
Well, there's two parts to that question. So this cycle doesn't seem to have played out. We're behind schedule. We should have had a bull run already, like a massive run up, and we're down actually at the time of this recording. So I think this cycle, if you want to call it a cycle, is delayed. It might push into next year for whatever various reasons there are. But I think the nation-state adoption is coming. We're pushing on a lot of fronts. Other companies and people are pushing too. There are concrete examples of what Bitcoin can do to benefit a country out there right now. The moves in the US, I think, have yet to propagate throughout the world. So Trump did create the SPR, but they haven't started buying yet. And we are talking with other countries to do the same. There are a few that have said they will create it. And I think it's all coming. It's really that these things happen very quickly. It's like literally gradually and then suddenly. And I think we're on the tail end of gradually and we're at the beginning phases of suddenly. And if you look at just the US alone, they're pushing forward on a lot of their budget neutral Bitcoin acquisition and the Bitcoin Act too. So I believe it's simply a matter of time before we see a massive run up and we see a massive nation state FOMO, panic.
Which nation states are you most bullish on as like a category? Because obviously El Salvador done incredibly well, Bhutan done amazing, the US is starting to make moves. Countries like the UK where I'm from and Australia where I live, I think are going to be laggards in this. I can't see them being amongst the first movers. Like, where do you think the real progress will come from?
I think it's likely Latin America. And I've said that since we started Gen 3, that it's the most ripe area of the world to significantly do something with Bitcoin, because you have energy, the energy part of the equation, you have the general stability, political stability, and you have the need. So you put all those things together and it just makes it the perfect place. And I think we just need a few more dominoes to drop. If things pan out in Paraguay the way we hope, I think that's a big domino, and countries in the surrounding area would likely come as well.
I mean, I'm excited for the nation state FOMO. That's is that when we actually get the $1 million Bitcoin target that you always talk about?
We'll see. I mean, even without nation state adoption, we should see it too, simply because of the corporate buys. Every day there's more and more corporations buying, and it just blows my mind that we're not running already.
Yeah, it is a bit strange. This cycle has felt very different. And one of the best ways that I've found to describe it is like my vibe check is completely gone. Like in previous bull markets, you get a sense of what's happening, you get a sense of where we're going, you can almost feel it when we're about to run. And this time I've just got no idea what's happening, and I can't put my finger on why that is, but my vibes are all off.
Yeah, because every day you see an announcement that Strategy bought this many coins, Metaplanet bought this many coins, this new company is buying, and the price is going sideways and down. So it makes zero sense, and I don't really have an answer about why. I think it's probably a number of things. It could be paper Bitcoin, it could be ETFs, it could just be outright fraud like FTX. Some exchange somewhere is selling coins that they don't have, and they're buying back when they need to buy back to meet demands for withdrawals. I don't know. But definitely, I think everyone has a sense in their head that something is off. And there's no way to know for certain until, something blows up and it's all over the news. But definitely, I would say it puts the suddenly, very close to now. And it could trigger at any time. And that's kind of like the Omega thesis. And I think that the current situation of Bitcoin price is definitely, on the verge of Omega.
You're feeling it. So why do you think there's fraud? Like, what leads you to think that there's some kind of fraud in the market? Like, is there always going to be blowups whenever we have one of these like bull and bear markets? Like, is because we have had that in the past. Do you think that's likely in the future? Well,
there's always been something, right? Like FTX was the perfect example. We saw that they were selling Bitcoin that they did not have. And, that's always a possibility. And I think of all the factors, it has to be some contributing factor that some entity is doing something weird.
That's a wrap for today's video, and what a journey through Samson Mow's vision for Bitcoin. If there's one thing clear from his insights, it's this: the next Bitcoin spike won't creep up slowly. It'll hit fast, hard, and when most people least expect it. Mow believes this current dip isn't a downfall, it's a setup. A quiet moment before the ignition. Bitcoin, he says, is standing on the launch pad, engines warming for a price surge that could rewrite financial history. But here's the big question, do you believe it? Could Samson Mow's legendary $1 million Bitcoin prediction become reality sooner than anyone thinks? I want to hear your take. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if today's breakdown gave you something to think about, hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear the truth about Bitcoin's next move, and subscribe for more deep crypto insights and Bitcoin analysis. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay curious, and as always, stay ahead.